Hey guys, welcome to my video. So today my topic is going to be about introduction to requirements engineering. Requirement engineering is the process of understanding the needs, constraints, and the goals of a software project. It is a critical step that lays the foundation for successful software development. There are many importance of requirements in software development to clarify expectations, to improve quality, and reduce rework. To clarify expectations, it must be well-defined requirements which help align stakeholders on the project objectives and deliverables. To improve quality, robust requirements ensure the final product which meets the user needs and function as intended. To reduce the rework, addressing requirement upfront prevents costly changes and rework later in development process. Types of requirements: functional requirement, non-functional requirement, and constraint. Functional requirement: it is to describe what the system must do, such as feature and capabilities. In non-functional requirement, the outline system attributes like performance, security, and usability. In constraint, it is to identify limitations such as budget, timeline, or technical restriction. The stakeholders identification and management. There are three: identify key stakeholders, analyze stakeholders' need, and then manage stakeholders' expectation. To identify stakeholders, we have to understand who will be impacted by the system and who has decision making authority. To analyze the stakeholders' need, we have to gather and prioritize the diverse requirements and perspective of all stakeholders. Then at last, to manage stakeholders' expectations, we have to establish communication channels so that we can keep the stakeholders informed and aligned throughout the project, like updating each and every step. Elicitation techniques. First, we have to interview. We have to conduct one-on-one discussion to deeply understand what the user needs and what they desire. Then, next step for workshop, we have to facilitate collaborative sessions to generate and refine requirements. Then we must observation. Then we must observe and watch users interact with existing systems to identify the pain point. Then at last we have to do surveys. We have to gather broad feedback from all large user base using questionnaires. Requirements analysis and prioritization. Analyze feasibility, identify conflict, prioritize requirement, and then manage dependency. To analyze feasibility, we must assess the technical, financial, and operational feasibility of requirement. Then we must identify conflicts which resolve any contradiction or trade-off between different stakeholders' requirements. Then to prioritize requirements, we have to use the technique like Moscow or Kano time to rank requirements by importance. Then to manage dependencies, we have to understand how requirements are linked and the impact of changes. What are the requirements of documentation and specification? Structured format, unambiguous language, and traceability link. In structured format, we have to use a standardized template to organize requirements clearly and consistently. Unambiguous language, we have to write requirements in clear, concise, and testable language. Traceability link, we have to establish connection between requirement, design, and test cases. Traceability and change management, we have to capture the baseline and then track change, and we must ensure traceability. To capture the baseline, the documents must be we have to document the initial set of approved requirements. Then we have to manage revision and new requirements throughout the project life cycle. Then at last, the link requirement to design, code, and test artifacts. Validation and verification of requirement. Validation is to confirm that the requirements accurately reflect stakeholders' needs. Verification is to ensure the implemented system meet the stated requirement. Then at last, the revision workphase is to involve stakeholders in reviewing the requirement for completeness and consistency. What are the challenge phase and what are the best practices in challenge phase is changing the requirement, completing stakeholder needs, and lack of user involvement. The best practices are to embrace an agile and iterative approach, prioritize and negotiate trade-off, engage stakeholders throughout the process. Thank you.